Hi, my subject today is about children. How we as a parents understand that each parent is trying so hard to raise their children, to make them happy, to make everything for them. Feed them, dress them, make sure that the family is all put together, balanced. And that it's not always easy. But many times, trying to balance the family, parents end up just naming their kids by making it easier. Oh, this kid is wild, therefore I have a right to just cut him off and put him in a corner. Or this child is disobedient, therefore this is his punishment, or this is his timeouts, or this child is just straight up evil. Therefore, instead of resolving and realizing that the problem is not in the kid, the problem many times is in the parent, and that there is a reason why this child is acting this way. Or this child is not eating, or this child is overeating. And instead of saying, you need to stop eating, or you're going to be so fat, nobody's going to marry you. These words are strong, and you will affect the child until you break it, until you apologize to a child, to God, and go deeper and find out what caused this. Maybe this child was bullied, or maybe this child lost a parent and that's the way they overcome. Or maybe this child was just overlooked. Once the other child was born, this child was pretty much neglected. So that was his only comfort, is by overeating or constantly eating different stuff, and he ended up gaining. But parents think, oh, the problem isn't the child. I have no time for this one, especially in the big families. It's like, I have no time for this child. Therefore, I'm just gonna name that child as if that's the child's problem. But we're the ones that created the children. We're the ones that's supposed to bring the comfort and make sure that child is not only fed and dressed, but emotionally taken care of. What if that child was bullied at school, comes home and doesn't eat? Like, there's so many examples that why a child could have a problem, and we need to just stop and listen. And that's all it will take. Yes, we are busy, but pray and ask God, help me. Just ask him another extra time if you think you already asked. He does talk to us. He gives you hints. He talks. Many times I lay down and he starts talking. Like, why can't I fall asleep? Oh, because literally God is trying to talk to you. And he will give you messages over each child that you have questions about. Or he could be giving you answers in the dreams. Or just stop and listen to the child. Take time, take him away on a side. Either try to spend time with that child or just sit down and talk. Or maybe their friend knows, maybe there's an issue in school. Like, I know a story, one of my sister's daughter just stopped eating. And she would ask her what was wrong. but she wouldn't answer. Therefore, she went to her best friend and she asked if she had any idea what happened, if she's being bullied or anything. And her friend did say that she was bullied. So it's mom's responsibility, or dad's, parents' responsibility to go and resolve it. Not just name a child and put the problem on them. He's fat because that, let it be. There is something behind it. There is something that caused it. And we can resolve it. Or just because one child is more mellow doesn't mean we have to overlook that child. I had one child and I had them close together, a son and a daughter. And she was very mellow as a newborn, more active now. But just because she's so mellow, I end up putting them in the high chairs, and I would feed an older child before the younger one because she was more patient, more mellow. And that kept going. Just because she is mellow doesn't mean she has to be overlooked. And just because she's so mellow, I would just leave her on a swing. She could play for hours while I'm taking care of other kids. Does that sound fair? No. That doesn't mean we overlook another child just because he's good or she's good. And just because another child is good at certain job at home doesn't mean that child is responsible to constantly do that job. Just because they are mellow and they don't just speak up and don't have a say-so, and because the other has a mouth on them to say, oh, mom, that's your kids, you watch them. I had a sibling like that. I was always loaded with work and babysitting, and just because that other child had a big mouth on them and parents didn't want to deal with it, that child was harder to manage. So I was end up doing all the work. Was that fair? No. Another situation, just because my husband was also mellow and was also, even though he complained when was loaded with all this work, trying to tell the parents that, oh, the brother that you told him to do the job together never does it. He would act he would just mess with his older brother to have him get in trouble. You know, some kids can be sneaky, and just because they, like I said, have a mouth on them and refuse to do the job. You know how there is a verse in the Bible, it says, which one is better? Is when they say, yes, yes, Father, I'll do it, but never do it. Or the one that says, no, I'm not going to do it, but will do it. That's how my husband was, and that's how I was, because we felt oppressed. We felt like we were doing all the work when others didn't want to do it. Parents didn't want to deal with it. I'm not saying, oh, I'm a victim, feel sorry for me. No, I'm just saying that be cautious, be patient, slow down, stop, and listen to the child. Listen to each side. Even if you will have to act as CSI or detective and take one child at a time to the room so the other one distract you and not act as a victim when this one is actually a victim and needs to be heard. So be a detective, and if it has to if it takes you to do that, go ahead and do that. But be sure and listen to each side, each child. But just because this one is easier to manage or better at the job doesn't mean that child has to be loaded with it. We need to be fair, and then we don't know why this child is closed up or don't want to listen to us. It's because they don't feel loved and they feel used. And instead of us building them up, we're crushing them. We don't want to do that. If you love your child, you want to try to figure it out. I understand, especially in the big families, many times we don't even have a time for this. We can only find time to feed them and dress them and keep the house clean. But if we ask God to help us keep it in order, appropriate way, like involve all the kids in their chores and treat them. You don't want to treat kids same. You treat them individually. Each child has a personality and you do treat them individually. Many times they say, oh no, you love this kid better. No, this. I would tell my kids, no, I love you individually. This thing that you have that you need to work on your personality, I don't like. But this thing I do like in you. When in the other child, I like that part in that child, in your sibling, but I don't like this part. I would explain to them a different parts. And I'm like, but I love you both. We are not perfect. Therefore, don't be too proud to apologize. If we make mistakes, apologize to your child. Say that we are humans. We make mistakes. It's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. But we admit and we go on. And unless we apologize and unless we ask for help, even God won't help you. If you are too proud or if you think you have no problem in you, He won't help you. He can't help you. You can't help normally, you can't help a person that doesn't want to help themselves, that can't help themselves. You see what I mean? If you realize that you have a problem, don't be proud. Or if you realize there's an issue, go ask God for help or go look for education that could help in parenting. But, we're parents. Nobody knows better than a parent. We feel, we see, but many times we choose to be oblivious and we close our eyes on it because, oh my gosh, we're so busy. We need to hurry up and finish cooking. This kid is just acting up and they need to just shut up and back up. But no, many times we just need to stop and listen. They are our children. We don't want to wait for school to resolve that issue or church. We are parents. We know better, and we don't just want to be parents. We want to be their teachers, not depend on others to raise our children or take care of it. And somehow this problem as they grow will resolve. But many times it won't. They either feel or being treated underloved or under listened. I don't know if there's such a thing, but you know what I mean. So, till next time.